Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
And I'm Steve Wilkes.
Today is kind of an interesting, I don't know if we've ever done this before, but it's a follow-up episode combining the results of previous shows into one kind of homemade plate.
It's kind of a wrap-up.
Yeah. So what we did was, in earlier shows, you'll have to look at the archives, we made sauerkraut from scratch. And we made...
Actually, we made it from cabbage.
Yeah. It's more difficult to make it from scratch.
It's true.
And then we made corned beef from beef, brisket.
That's right.
So we started with those elements as a basis. So go back in the archives and, you know, if you haven't seen those shows, watch those to see where you can get up to where we are now.
Yeah.
So I think Steve's thought was, why don't we make a Reuben sandwich?
That's what we were talking about during the corned beef show. It was like,
Right.
well, next, we've got sauerkraut, we've got corned beef.
Right.
Let's do a Reuben.
Right.
So that's what we did today.
Sort of.
Sort of. Because I don't see any bread.
Well, we have liquid bread.
Aha.
We were talking about getting some rye flour and making some rye bread to go along with our Reuben. But instead, I said, you know, the homebrew shop's got malted rye, grain. Why don't we make a
100% rye beer.
Right? We've done 100% wheat.
Yep.
Now, so here in a minute we'll talk about the beer and how we'll make it. Instead of bread, we're using beer for our deconstructed Reuben sandwich.
That's right. It's very deconstructed. So we had to start though with our corned beef, which I made corned this week and then cooked it last night. And then we took some of your sauerkraut and fried it, sauteed it in a little bit of bacon, just brought it to temperature. It's really good.
Really
and then
easy.
we made homemade remoulade sauce just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we started with, we made mayonnaise first. So it's a really easy process. I encourage you to do it. The mayo is a couple of eggs, some dry mustard, salt, kombucha.
Instead of vinegar.
Instead of vinegar or lemon juice. So we used James's kombucha and a cup and a half of light olive oil. And then you blend that, you make an emulsion, and that's your mayonnaise. Then to that homemade mayonnaise, which by the way is delicious.
Yeah, by itself.
All by itself. Then you add to this recipe, I added horseradish, kombucha, pickled okra. So a real southern thing there. Pickled okra, finely chopped sweet pickles, flat leaf parsley, shallot or green onion. Actually, I used green onion. A half a teaspoon of our friend Ed Nicholson's habanero sauce. It really is from scratch, except for the Cajun seasoning, which was a commercial Cajun seasoning, but a lot of work to make that. So we used a half a teaspoon of commercial seasoning, Cajun seasoning. That's the remoulade sauce. And so this is our deconstructed Reuben with our deconstructed bread on the side.
It's amazing. And the remoulade sauce, the mayonnaise tasted wonderful to begin with. And you have to be very patient because you don't just glop it all together.
Right.
You have to drizzle the olive oil in there. But man, the mayonnaise itself is good. We saved some of that to make sandwiches later.
Yep.
Traditional sandwiches. And then the remoulade sauce is also wonderful as well. So the beer...
This is what I'm waiting for.
Okay, well, rye is a lot like wheat in that it has no husk. So it's very tricky to make a commercial 100% rye beer because you need the husk to form a filter bed in the mash tun so that it doesn't just glop up and make a glue, it doesn't come out. So what I did was I got around that. I put 4 pounds of malted rye and used that in brew in a bag to mash in the kettle. So I used 8 quarts of water at 162 degrees Fahrenheit and put the 4 pounds of rye in there, and I got a saccharification rest, a single infusion saccharification rest of 152 degrees Fahrenheit, which I did for an hour. And then I sparged with 1 gallon of water in a second pot at 170 degrees. And when I pulled that bag out, that's when I knew this was different. Because this stuff was slimy as Well, if you've ever boiled okra,
Yeah.
the stuff that's around the boiled okra,
Yeah.
it's about like that. Very, very slimy. So it took a long time for that to drain out of the bag. And then I sparged it in the second one, poured those second runnings into the first pot. And by the way, I did an iodine test to make sure that it converted, and there were enough enzymes to convert the starches to sugar.
Yeah.
So I boiled that. I wound up with about 2 3/4 gallons of wort. I added half an ounce of Amarillo hops at 60 minutes and another half an ounce at 5 minutes. And then I fermented with half a package of Safale US-05. But when I chilled this thing, you know, usually you chill it with the immersion chiller, you take the chiller out, you go away for a few minutes, the tube settles down, you get clear wort. Not this stuff. It was just all stuck in there.
Wow.
It's
Is that just
gelatinous
because
goo.
there's so much protein that just can't get out of there?
I think so. And if I were to do this again, I would try a protein rest to try to thin that stuff out. Then, when it fermented, I put it into a Mr. Beer fermenter. When it started to ferment, then it had its protein break. And I took a picture. You can kind of tell what's going on there, but very weird. And then about a week later, I said, let's bottle this stuff. And so you were over shooting an episode at the time, and we opened that stuff, and what was your reaction?
Gack. It was like buckwheat. Ah! Wasn't good.
So what we did was we pulled off 3 bottles of that, and I put some sugar tablets in the bottles. And I said, well, you know, maybe this will be a failure. And if it's a failure, we can talk about it on the show. Because it's not a sin to try something new and to fail.
Well, and you know, as I recall, it didn't taste bad.
No.
It was the texture. The texture was just, it's like drinking okra.
Or snot.
Or snot.
Frankly.
Yeah. So we're going to see.
So it's been in the bottle, and it's got a ton of trube on the bottom, a lot of sediment on the bottom, so I'm hoping, got my fingers crossed, that this turned out all right. Now this, who knows what's going to happen, because you're seeing this.
Yeah, this is live TV taped.
Oh.
That sounded encouraging.
Sounds like a
Got
beer.
that nice.
Drum roll, please.
Well, it looks a lot better.
It looks better. Viscous.
It's still pretty thick.
It's
I'd call that 10W30.
It does look pretty thick. Oh, and look how the bubbles are kind of standing in there.
Oh my. Well, it's effervescent, and I'm scared.
It smells really good.
Smells great. Okay, that's a.
You know,
It's not bad.
it's not too bad. It is kind of cough syrupy in its consistency,
It is.
but it tastes great.
It tastes very good. I like the taste of this a lot. If it wasn't that the texture's a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. The mouth feels a bit of an issue.
But it's not. It's not.
But it's
bad.
effervescent, though.
Yeah.
The thickness holds onto those bubbles.
Yeah.
You know, I think with maybe a protein rest, we'll try that again. Maybe with a protein rest, it would be more successful.
And I just wonder. I'm just throwing this out. I'm thinking outside the bun here. I just wonder if you were to use a fining agent like gelatin, if it might pull some of that out.
Either that or it'll just all set
Or
up.
it'll set up.
We just have beer shots instead of Jello shots of.
Oh, excuse me. I just hit my microphone there. Sorry.
I'll cut that out. Instead of a gelatin, Jello shots of whatever vodka, you'd have a Jello shot of beer. Look at it sticking to the side of the thing. Okay, now
You
we
want
have
to talk about legs?
Now we have to. Yeah, it's got cankles.
Betty boop. Woo, woo.
Now, how are we gonna approach this? How should we do this? Combine it all into one thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think just take a little.
Try to get some
piece
sauerkraut.
of sauerkraut, a little piece of meat, a little piece of sauerkraut, and remoulade.
Yeah, mix it all together.
Mix it all together. Well, as you might expect, that's really, really good. My goodness.
I'm loving it.
I love the sauerkraut with a little bit of bacon in it.
You know, that's growing on me.
You drink a whole glass of this, it'll really grow on you.
It's chunky style. That's really good. But you know what? Instead of taking another bite of that,
Yeah.
I have a surprise.
What?
Back in the day, remember the last Halloween episode? We had something we called melon blood that we made with, instead of water, we made with the juice of watermelons. So look up that episode. And our impression of it at the time was?
Not good.
Not good.
Now,
we have aged this a bit. Whoop, and
Whoa.
it's coming out. We keep everything for you. We've aged it a bit, and we tried it the other day.
Oh.
And it's a little happy. Here you go. You want to trade?
That's happier than it was the other day.
Yeah, I didn't do that the other day.
Well, we were shocked at how good this was.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's just over priming is what that is.
yeah. So, in time, it tastes like watermelons.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It really smells like watermelon. That funkiness that we experienced in earlier tastings is gone.
It's just completely. I'm so shocked at how forward the fruit is in this.
Wow.
And it's really watermelony.
It's like a Jolly Rancher.
It sure is. A little wheat beer Jolly Rancher.
So don't give up on your beers. If they come out a little weird for some reason, as long as they don't blow up in the bottle, that one almost did apparently, but as long as they don't blow up and cause a disaster, hang on to them for a while and see how they come out.
Yeah.
They might age out to be pretty good. So maybe we'll keep, I've got 2 more bottles of that rye.
Keep it.
We'll keep it around and
3 or 4 months from now, we'll come back.
yeah. Now, we're going to take a few weeks off. We'll see you in late June. But this is Memorial Day weekend, is it not?
It is.
So we should raise a glass to those who have fallen
That's right.
in service for our country. And we couldn't be doing this without them. So
That's right.
while you're busy having fun on Memorial Day weekend, we hope that you will take a moment and do the same. Cheers.
Cheers.
Come and visit us on the web. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archived lists of both our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs, Extract Brewing and Partial Mashing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, Introduction to Wine Kits, and for a limited time, our 2012 Brewer's Logbook. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Write to James at basicbrewing.com, Steve at basicbrewing.com, or just use the contact form on basicbrewing.com.
Okay.